to bed, I thought I'd make a little video on my power supply and its progress so far. I have updated it in my Facebook group. And I'm actually going to be moving over the Facebook group stuff to a WordPress website and all that. That will come as and when I get the time and motivation to do it. But in the meantime, we have not done a lot of the front panel, to be honest. We've completely stripped the original guts out of it, which we'll show you shortly. Original transformers in there, although we rewired some of the tappings on it. It still uses the original power switch and neon bulb with the little lens out of an old video camera. We've attached some BNC ports to the front, which can be for the linear supply when that's fully built. That isn't built yet. Both the voltmeter from 0 to 30 volts is calibrated, built, wired up into the front sockets. Same with the amp meter for the linear, which goes up to an amp. That's also wired in. For the scabby mangy top, to hide my crimes, I used some electrical tape there and also there to cover up the nastiness that was there. And it looks absolutely fantastic. I'm not sure what I'm going to do about this. Tip, don't use Tipex, it's too permanent. We pull this off and we can see the design and construction is a lot better. We're still running on 2 bridge rectifiers, but we've got the 12 volt winding that we've wired down into this little bridge rectifier here. We've got a tap set, so we've been tapping screws. So we've been tapping the heatsink so we can put screws in. Oh my god, I really had to hunt round to find one of these. I was looking for it on the Saturday. Eventually, I found one at a Screwfix, the only Screwfix in town. But they had a tap set. They also had a £70 one with a lot more, so that'll be one I get at a later date, not lately. So I rewired this bit and put the 2 current coils that gave up to 60 volts in series into parallel. So we get more current capacity. That's wired into here with some screw terminals. Goes through the bridge rectifier, the full wave bridge rectifier, as Electro Boom says. Then that's obviously going, and then the other one goes into the smaller bridge rectifier for the 12 volt, but it's lower ampage. Big cap is for the 30 volts, little 1000 UF 16 volts for the 12 volts, and when you put the caps in, the voltage rises surprisingly dramatically. There's the back of the meter wired in. I used terminals so I can remove the whole front panel out and desolder it. Same with the banana plugs. You can see the beginnings going to here, because then the output positive will go down into the board when I get the linear part wired in. Still trying to decide on what design to do, and I need to prototype a design or two and see what's best. So they'll be wired in due course. I've got a buck and 8 amp buck regulator on order and a similar sort of spec boost converter, so this can output also switch mode high voltage and low voltages, and I think the boost goes up to like 110, 120 volts, which is sort of US voltage, so this will actually work as a bit of a high voltage power supply, and I've got the beefy ones so they can output a decent amount of current. This side has remained completely untouched, same with all this that I originally did. You can see Ethernet used the sheathing there to hold it on. Probably held in with hot glue, but you know, it's still there, it's safe. Same as this little plastic panel of hot glue here, left in place, because just in case I make the same mistake I did at college and zap myself. Yeah, that hurt. The boost and buck converter will have to arrive before I decide how I mount them, but I'm thinking to the side of the heat sinks, because there's actually on them screw ports here, so I can mount the heat sinks to the heat sinks. That would be fantastic, because then you end up with one big heat sink. Use some thermal paste. Voltmeter, just wired into parallel as voltmeters are. So yeah, we're basically measuring the current going through this power transistor, which at an amp on its own will get warm. So the heatsink doesn't even get warm. It's beautiful. I didn't look at what it was on the thermal camera to see exactly what it goes up to. I want to add this in for the linear 100 ohm 10 turn pot. If anyone knows a linear power supply design that would work with a 100 ohm 10 turn pot for the either voltage or current, having fine tune on current would actually be really useful, because I currently don't have that. Because this power supply down here doesn't really give you much fine tune on current. This one down here doesn't even give you current adjustment, it's just voltage. So you have to adjust the current by adjusting the voltage. Which is how I did the constant current for this, because it's a 10 turn pot like this. Oh my god, you get a decent amount of precision adjustment. So yeah, I kind of have a hack job for constant current. So that's how I calibrated this. And this was calibrated, same method, but running on voltage and figuring out what size resist. I managed to just find one in my junk box which just was exactly right. I think it was 220k, something like that. So yeah, aside from that, there's not a lot else to update about this power supply other than, well, it looks a lot less bodge job. It's held together a lot better. Yeah, my tapping's not the best because I'm only learning how to do it. But you can see I'm getting it so things are mounted properly, bolted to the heatsink. I don't know if I'm going to use this as an electrical ground. Yes, it is earthed. That was one of the first things I did with this when I started the conversion. But I might use this for something. I might actually use the 12 volt to divert a dedicated -5 volt and +5 volt, because that would actually be really useful for like op amps and stuff. There's a few applications where that would actually be quite useful to me, and I don't currently have a setup that can provide that. So I might do that with the 12 volt output. I haven't made my mind up yet. But yeah, I'm going to add the buck and boost, the linear, so it's going to have at least 3 outputs. And if I do the dedicated 5 volt outputs, negative and positive, that will be a pretty good, well-rounded power supply for my needs. It could even supersede using this. Except this is my high current because it goes up to 5 amps. Although this could go up higher. So this could be even better for blowing up capacitors and whatnot. Might even be good for using on valves, because you can adjust the voltage to like linear to 6.3 and then have the switch mode boost converter do the 100 or so volts that's needed on the plates. So you never know. I'm actually getting a valve scope, but that's another video later. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I hope you found that interesting. The progress on my power supply rebuild. Redesigning it pretty much from the ground up. Just reusing the old power stuff that I left in here, and the heatsink's from an old Pentium 2 processor. Don't know where the original heatsink went that was on the hybrid amplifier. But yeah, thanks for watching. I'm off to bed now. Work tomorrow.